Hello and welcome to this week's live episode of Bonkers.ie TV, where we're all about smarter money and bringing you all of the news from the world of consumer affairs and personal finance. It's the last Wednesday of the month, so you know what that means. It's our monthly Roundup video where we wrap up all of the big news from the world of consumer affairs this month. So Dara, to start off, we have to talk about Board.ie.
Yeah, so energy news. So unfortunately not great news when it comes to energy. So earlier on in the month, Board.ie announced a price increase. A lot of the suppliers had announced price increases over the autumn and coming up to winter of last year, but Board.ie had held off, but it looks like they couldn't hold off any longer as they've announced a 4.5% increase in electricity and a 2.5% increase in gas. And what that means is that people's electricity bill is going to go up by just over €40 over the course of a year, and their gas bill will go up by about €20 over the course of a year. So not a huge, I suppose, price increase, but coming on the back of a lot of the price increases that we saw yesterday, it's not going to help. And actually just today, we saw Electric Ireland also announce a price increase. Now, like Board.ie, they again had held off on their price increases for the winter. They'd announced a winter price freeze last November, but now that winter's coming to an end, so is the price freeze. So they're increasing their electricity prices by 4% and their gas prices by 4%, and that will take effect from the 1st of April. The Board.ie price increase will come into effect in early March. So not great news, but I suppose if there is one silver lining, it's that the price increases that have been announced are a lot lower than some of the price increases that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, a lot of the price increases seem to be down to an increase in the wholesale price of energy.
Yeah, and again, that's what's being blamed, particularly gas. So we use a lot of gas to make our electricity. So not only does an increase in the price of gas on international markets mean that your gas bill goes up, it also means that your electricity bill goes up as well. But maybe as we move into the summer months, when usually demand begins to level off a bit, we might not see some price increases for a while.
Yeah, something that might actually help in that department when it comes to wholesale energy prices would be wind energy.
Yeah.
So this month, the Irish Wind Energy Association published a report which said that in the last 20 years, the cost of wind energy has actually worked out at less than €1 per person to implement. So another thing, some staggering statistics really in this report, €2.7 billion has been saved over the last 20 years on fossil fuels, while 33 million tonnes of CO2 has been removed from the environment. So it's pretty significant.
Yeah, and of course, I suppose as we try to reach our climate change targets over the coming years, you'd imagine that an investment in things like renewable and wind is going to be more and more important. So
yeah. Even just to reduce the costs on a monthly basis, less than €1 per person
a timely report.
Staggering.
Also as well, we had KBC following the footsteps of Bank of Ireland and introduced their instalment plan feature. So you might have heard us talk about this at Christmas. Personally, I think it's a really, really cool, nifty feature of credit cards. So basically, if you have a large purchase of €500 or more, you can put that purchase on and you use it and you spend it on your KBC credit card. You can ring up KBC and ask them to put that purchase onto an installment plan feature, and the interest rate is just below 9%. So that compares to the interest rate of over 16 or 17% that's usually there, and then you can then pay off the purchase over either 12 or 24 months. So basically, it's like getting a personal loan but through your credit card, and in fact, the interest rate is pretty similar to what a personal loan interest rate would be. So I think it's a really, really cool feature. At the moment, it's only Bank of Ireland and KBC that offer this feature. It's both on their MasterCard credit cards, and both of them offer, like I said, a really, really low interest rate compared to what you'd usually be paying, but the purchase does need to be over €500. So if you're making it for smaller purchases, you can't do that. There's a few other terms and conditions, so head over to our blog, obviously, if you want to find out more.
Yeah, 9% on a €500 purchase is like €45.
Yeah, it's not much, yeah, absolutely, it's good value.
Yeah, Ulster Bank also introduced some new fees this month.
Yeah, so kind of much to the disgust, I think, of Ulster Bank customers everywhere. So basically, they've really changed their fees to be more in line with AIB and Bank of Ireland, which isn't a good thing, really. So basically, beforehand with Ulster Bank, you'd have €4 a month, and then for that €4, you'd get all of your day-to-day banking for free. They've changed that now, so they've reduced the monthly fee to €2. However, they've brought in a whole host of fees for other things. So they've brought in fees for contactless payments, withdrawing money, lodging money, chip in PIN, direct debit, standing orders. And if you're, I suppose, even a light to medium user, like even if you don't use your account that often, the fee structure, this new fee structure, is going to mean that the vast majority of people, unfortunately, will pay more. If you're a very, very light user of your account, you might pay a little bit less because that monthly fee has gone down from €4 to €2. But for most of the people, it's going to see bigger bills. But as you always say, if you're not happy with the current account provider, switch. There's lots of other options out there. There's lots of cool options from some of the newer digital banks like N26 and Revolut. So if you're not happy, don't pull up with it. Switch and get a better deal.
Yeah, so there was some interesting news actually this month in terms of broadband. We have one of our first new broadband providers on our site for a while. Big Blue actually just announced, was made available through Bonkers.ie for the first time. Now, Big Blue are focusing, I think, primarily on people in rural areas because it's actually a satellite broadband service, so it doesn't rely on fiber optic cables as much of the traditional kind of broadband providers are now kind of focusing on. So this means that if you're in an area that has been underserved by the National Broadband Plan, or if you're in an area that some of the traditional services can't get to with fiber optic cables, there's definitely an option on the table. Now, their lowest price point entry is €30. Well, it's just under €30. It's $29.99 a month. However, there is only 10 gigabytes of prioritized internet. So while they won't cut you off if you go over, they will throttle your speeds.
Okay, so maybe it might be the best plan for heavy users. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, but it's definitely better than the alternative option of going without,
Yeah, and I mean, they're promising almost 100% coverage, which is a pretty big claim to make.
It's pretty interesting. Like, so they're, you probably might have remembered a couple of years ago there was ads going around with Niall Quinn on the television saying if your roof points towards the sky, you can get satellite broadband. Well, that's kind of effectively the idea. Okay,
very good. And then we also, I suppose earlier on as well, we had the CSO announce the property price increase for last year. So it showed that the rate of increase is still beginning to fall. But basically, the price of property nationally still rose by over 6% last year. And based on, obviously the years before, it means that property prices now are getting very, very close to where they were at the peak of the boom. So obviously that's not good if you're looking to buy a house for the very, very first time. But it is good news, though, if you're looking to switch mortgage. And the reason is that if you're in negative equity, which a lot of people would have been for a long time, your choice regarding switching mortgage would be limited, as banks pretty much wouldn't take the mortgage. They wouldn't allow you to switch. And when it comes to switching, the more equity you have in the house, the better, because you'll get the cheapest rate. And as house prices have begun to increase, tens of thousands of people now are sitting on houses that actually have a lot of equity in them, and basically means that there's never been a better time to switch mortgage. You're unlikely to be in negative equity. In fact, you could actually have a huge amount of equity in the house, and basically it means that your options for switching are greater than they've ever been. So again, our mantra here at Bonkers.ie is always that switching saves. Your mortgage should be no different. It's one of the biggest bills you'll ever have, probably along with childcare. So it makes sense that you want to get the best value for money. So if you haven't switched mortgage in a while, and you think your house has increased in value, which it probably has, look at and see the options that are available for switching.
Yeah, I remember when we ran our first kind of stories of this year, we ran how much each sector, or how much each bill, if you switch, can save you, and by far and away the most money that could be saved each year is by switching mortgage.
Absolutely.
In terms of some other negative banking information, Bank of Ireland has, positive banking information rather. Bank of Ireland has extended its cashback offer to 31st of December. So that's the very end of the year. So that means that if you get a mortgage with Bank of Ireland, you'll be able to get 2% a drawdown. But after 5 years, if you were still a Bank of Ireland member, you'll be able to get an extra percent.
Okay, so you get an extra 1%. Yes, I think if you're a Bank of Ireland, a current account customer, you need to have the current account to get the extra 1%. So kind of all the banks now have extended their cashback deal. Well, some of them haven't, but the ones that have cashback have all extended it. So whether obviously the cashback offers are going to kind of, I suppose, continue, we'll see, as the central bank is a little bit against the idea of cashback deals. So
yeah, and it's definitely worth considering as well if you are looking for a mortgage and you are considering a cashback offer. It is definitely worth crunching the numbers and finding out how much that cashback is going to cost you in the long run.
Absolutely.
As the Central Bank of Ireland do maintain that it could cost you a bit
more. Absolutely. And finally, getting back to Bord Gáis, they did announce some good news this week, where they are saying that existing customers, so existing dual fuel customers, can now switch switch to I suppose the best deal that Bord Gáis have. So as we know, usually we say that switching saves, and usually if you want to save on your energy bill, you have to switch to the cheapest supplier, as they often don't reward loyalty. But now Bord Gáis is rewarding loyalty. So if you're a gas customer or electricity customer, you can switch to their dual fuel discounted plan that they usually only offer to new customers, and now going to offer it to existing customers. So basically, if you're happy being a Bord Gáis customer, but you want to get the same great cheap rates that new customers get, you can now actually get them. If you are though already a dual fuel customer, so if you already get your gas and electricity with Bord Gáis, you will need to wait until you come to the end of your contract, which is usually 12 months. But then after that, if you haven't come to the end of your contract, you can you can sign up for their great rates. They also have a 2-year dual fuel plan, which gives a discount of 20% on electricity and 14% on gas. I think all the details are on our website, and also a free Hive smart thermostat. So it's a really, really good deal in fairness. And it's great to see energy suppliers, indeed any supplier, actually reward loyalty rather than forcing people to switch.
Yeah, and those smart thermostats are a great way of actually monitoring, kind of in real life energy usage as it happens. So one of the actual things that we spent a good bit of time this month as well was focusing on writing some guides as to some money mistakes that you can make depending on what age you are in your life. Now, of course, they are simply guides, and they are supposed to be idealized, as some people have gotten to us and asked, wait, I thought making all those mistakes in my 20s meant that I'd be broke in my 30s and all that sort of stuff. But there are guides there for your 20s, your 30s, your 40s and your 50s if you want to kind of have a look at what the ideal situation would be for you to kind of protect the most amount of your money possible. Now remember, at no point is it too late to start saving your money. So whether you are actually in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or if you want to get a head start on, say, planning an early retirement in your 20s, there is a guide there for you to check out. And I think that's all from us this month. Really, remember, if you want to get in touch, we are on Facebook and Twitter. We're also on Instagram, so make sure to hop over and like us there. And as well, of course, remember to go over to our blog for any more information on any of the stories that you've seen here today. As for...
that's it.
I think that's pretty much it for us.
It is.
So thanks very much for this week.
And we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Hopefully.